Development Corporation, Hollister Downtown Association, and the San Juan Bautista Economic Development Citizens Advisory Committee slash San Juan Bautista Committee. Just for knowledge, amendment to these bylaws does require approval by majority vote being the 2 voting members, which are the Board of Supervisors. At this time, we're asking for clarity on the roles and responsibilities and voting rights of the ex-officio members. And I would like to pass this to Barbara Thompson, County Counsel, for further information on ex-officio members.
Okay, I believe traditionally in our county, we have not had the ex-officio members been voting members, but when you look at the Robert's Rules of Orders, ex-officio members are voting members, but we do not follow the Robert's Rules of Order. It's not mentioned in the Rosenberg Rules of Order, which we don't follow either. So basically, it's up to the bylaws to determine whether or not you wish to have the ex-officio members, the voting members or not voting members. Traditionally, we've not had them voting members, but you could make them voting members if you wish to do so in the bylaws. It would be up to the bylaws. I guess the way that it's been interpreted in the past, since we don't follow Robert's Rules of Order, unless it's specifically indicated that they're voting members, traditionally in the past, it's been interpreted that they're not voting members. I think that's how we've done it for many years.
Thank you, Barbara. Do you have any comments? So let's open it up to public comment first, because I've got some. So can we open public comment?
On Zoom, if you can raise your hand by pressing *9 or the raise your hand icon. Mayor Mia, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just told I needed to introduce myself or something. So I'm here. Sorry, I had a call. Just jumping on.
No worries. Anybody else in the on Zoom that would like to provide a comment on the current item? No comments.
Any public comment around the table?
Member of the public, Christina Chavez Wyatt. If it would benefit the committee, I participate on the Monterey County Economic Development Committee. I believe they have 12 members of their committee because they have different sectors, including construction, nonprofit, et cetera. And they're all voting members. They have a lot more staff support, et cetera, but it's worth consideration.
Okay, my only comment on this topic is I feel like it seems odd if it's just the 2 board members and we want the community input, we want to work as a team, and if they don't have a vote, then it just kind of seems like it's all weighing on us instead of us as a team and as a group. So I would be open to changing the bylaws and looking at how we can make this a productive voting committee where we actually are doing things as a community and not just what 2 board members want to do. Because we're elected and may have a different approach than what the community might want. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with Supervisor Curro. My only comments would be, I think we do have to be careful in setting, like with our ex-officio committee members, some of them are going to be coming and receive funding from the county. And so then those probably are not appropriate to be sitting on this committee. So I think we just have to be careful about that. But I think it'd be a great idea for us to maybe figure this out. I would love to see us go beyond just the 2 supervisors that have the voting rights on this committee.
And maybe Barbara, if you want to chime in on this, when it comes to budget and funding, I feel that's at the board level and we make a recommendation, and that doesn't happen at this level. But so if there is a conflict of something from one of our ex-officios, they would have to step back and say it's a conflict of interest, so I have to step back from this vote. You agree, Barbara? Barbara said yes, everybody.
like to look at it a little bit more, but that would be the minimum request. But we will look at it a little bit, just a little bit more in depth, I guess, just to make sure, but I think that would be fine.
Do any committee members that are around this table, do you have, or ex officio members, I guess I should say, do you have any input or ideas for this? And I know we're probably not following proper procedure right now, right, Barbara? By asking, I
believe-
really want this to be a discussion with the committee and the members, and I don't want this just to be two people's ideas. I want this to be a real collaborative approach, and so my hope is that moving into the future,
Yeah,
make
it's-
sure I'm not going off of agenda.
No, I was just checking it. It does look like it's broad enough to discuss the bylaws. So it'd be
Um,
fine to discuss that.
Okay.
My-
I mean,
my-
for me, it's not just I mean, I really would love, and I don't know if this is the time, so tell me to stop if I'm going too far. I would love for this to be an in-person meeting. I mean, I think we could air it by Zoom if need be, but
Oh, okay.
I really would like this to be an in-person kind of working committee group. I think we've got a lot of opportunities in front of us. And so my desire is that this becomes a real hardworking committee. So anyways.
Barbara, since we're so new to all of this, are bylaws approved by the committee? Or when the committee was created by the Board of Supervisors, do we need the bylaws to be updated and approved by the board?
I'm
'Cause
trying to open them, but I believe that they're recommended by this committee and then
and then
approved
approved by the board. Okay, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that we follow the correct protocol on that.
Yeah, and my only concern about the budget is whether or not a contract between the county and the specific agencies are involved when that budget transfer is made. If there's a contract involved, because then there's even more stringent guidelines about participating in making a contract that directly benefits. So we need to know exactly which organizations would receive funds from the county and how much that would be. If they're going to participate on a body that recommends that funding source. They could be on the Economic Development Committee, but not make a recommendation as far as those awards, for example. Maybe that perhaps would stay at a different level. Or, an ad hoc of the board, maybe just the two supervisors would do that, but it wouldn't be in front of this committee if they're receiving those funds.
Thank you for that clarification. So does anybody around this table have any feedback, any ideas, any comments about this idea?
Is it possible to bring back recommendations at a later date so that we can maybe do a little bit of research of other economic advisory councils or partnerships and see if there's anything applicable to our group? And can we put that on the agenda for next time?
I love that idea. Okay. And I don't know. Okay. And I did see San Juan Business Association somewhere. And I do know that the city of Hollister, I think they've asked to be a part of this as well. And so I think this is an opportunity for us to kind of make sure that all players are at the table. There could be additional people that would benefit from being on this organization or this committee.
So I'm going to make a motion. I'd like to direct staff to research what updated bylaws with ex officios being voting members and how the bylaws could be updated to reflect that, with addressing any funding concerns at a higher level like the Board of Supervisors, and bring that back to the committee for discussion.
So I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So is there anything else on that discussion then that we need to, maybe at this time, maybe kind of what I'd like to do is maybe if there's anybody online or still in regards to item 6, but making sure that we're kind of very clear on it, but really kind of defining what some of the roles and responsibilities are of the ex officio kind of members, or if you're not already listed as an ex officio member, that is in the bylaws, which lists, there's 5 ex officio committee members right now. You have the San Benito County Business Council, San Benito County Chamber of Commerce and Foundation, San Benito County Economic Development Corporation, Hollister Downtown Association, and the San Juan Bautista Economic Development Citizens Advisory Committee, and it says / San Juan Bautista Committee. So let's go around online as well as around the table, and just maybe identifying who we all are, and maybe what our roles and kind of responsibilities that you see kind of fit in with this organization. If you are not one of the ex officio members, please still introduce yourself, and maybe I think there's opportunity to potentially see who isn't at the table right now that we need at the table. So I'll start with Heidi Balls.
Hi, Heidi Baltz with the San Juan Business Association, and that's also our nonprofit name and our DBA name.
My name is Michelle Leonard. I am the president and CEO of the San Benito County Chamber of Commerce and Foundation. We are a 501c6 membership organization and a 501c3 nonprofit. We do a lot of programs and special events all throughout the year. We have a visitor center in downtown Hollister, and we cover all of San Benito County with our services. There are exclusive services to members, and there are also services that are eligible to all people and businesses in San Benito County if they are funded by public funds.
I'm Sean Herrera with the Chamber of Commerce. I'm the board chair.
Amy Paris, coordinator for the Economic Development Corporation of San Benito County.
I'm Renee Wells. I'm the executive director of the Economic Development Corporation of San Benito County. We are a 501c3 organization that is not a member organization. We are funded partly by the city of Hollister and partly by the county, the San Benito County, for support and resources for economic development for San Benito County.
Omar Rosa with the Hollister Downtown Association.
My name is Christina Chavez Wyatt. I'm acting as a community member representative. It was my understanding, Sean, that you were representing the business council on this committee as well, because Jim couldn't make it. Okay. On behalf of Sean, just to describe the business council established in 2001, the San Benito County Business Council is a 501c6 nonprofit member-based organization representing over 45 local and regional municipal agencies, businesses, trade organizations, and major employers, representing more than 6,000 employees in the Monterey Bay region. Again, my name is Christina Chavez Wyatt. I am the president and owner of Farmhouse Communications. I've been working the last 20 years in the Monterey Bay region in public engagement, economic and community development. I've served as a contracted executive director as a consultant to the San Benito County Business Council for the past 13 years. And I serve as a client advisor for strategic growth for Northern California, California Manufacturing Technology Consulting, the manufacturing extension partner provider with the U.S. Commerce Department and the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development.
Go to Zoom to continue this. So pass it on to Gracie for Zoom.
On Zoom, please raise your hand. Mayor Mia, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Mia Casey, Mayor of Hollister. And I just sort of started sitting in on these just because I'm still trying to wrap my head around what this committee is about. And I know we had one listed on our list of committees, but actually hasn't formed or added any people to it. And I'm just trying to look at the overlap and also, consider whether this is the best venue to, I love the idea of getting everyone together, collaboration, but doing it under the auspices of a county committee. I do see the conflicts there with several groups that receive funding from the county and the city and trying to do it under that. And I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to figure out what the best setup would be. And I wonder if it wouldn't be better to have a committee under like Economic Development Corporation and have members from county and from city attend and be part of the discussion, because then it could be a true discussion. This kind of format is a little difficult and, for participation and because there's so much formality around the committees that county and city both have. So it's just some thoughts.
Thank you. The San Benito County American Job Center.
Hi, everyone. This is Liz Sanchez Turner, and I apologize. My intent was to be there, but another meeting ran over with actually one of our board members. So I am privately part of the San Juan Bautista Economic Development Citizens Advisory Committee as a private member, because I'm also an entrepreneur, but publicly, and how I attend all of the county meetings is as a county employee. I work for the Workforce Development Board, Workforce Development Center here in Hollister, and currently what I do in what I'm tasked to do, what I enjoy doing is I'm a business services specialist and a rapid response coordinator. So I work with the county's businesses. So I advocate for the small businesses, making plans and available to them, as well as our America's Job Center, who has the various programs to help. And ultimately, we want to be able to help train the underserved community, the unemployed community, to be able to be working members of our community, and hopefully supply local businesses with good employees that have been well trained by our center. So that's what I do. And typically I've been attending, and I'm, like I said, I meant to be there, so I apologize for that.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to comment on Zoom? Please unmute yourself or raise your hand. Maria, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Sid. I'm a local business owner, also a chamber member, vice chair of the San Benito Chamber Board of Directors and the foundation. And I absolutely love our community. And I am here to offer my services to advocate for not just local business owners, but also our community. And I would have been there in person. I apologize, but with all the claims happening right now with these storms, I am tied to my desk, but I will be there for the next one in person.
Thank you. Aaron Johnson.
Hi, this is Aaron Johnson with Granite Rock Company, and I'm also the chair of the Economic Development Corporation. It's great to see everybody in the same area. I would like to be there in person. My apologies, I can't be. Mia had some excellent points about what the right form is for this. I would just historically point out that the ad hoc committee was formed by the county when the county had an interest in having regular meetings on that, and that can occur in a public forum or in a private forum. But what I think is the most important is that we have all agencies and city and county in the same room for these important discussions. And so I would support how we could facilitate that going forward. I would just point out that the Economic Development Corporation cannot take political views. And so we're an education-based organization. And so that's what we'll provide.
Thank you. No further comments.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here and being online today. I appreciate learning who's on there, what organizations you're with, and some of the comments that were made. So I guess next month, next meeting, we can bring back this item and kind of continue the discussions. And is this the appropriate place for these meetings to be happening? Should it fall under a different organization? I think those are all points that we will continue talking about next month.
All right.
Okay, so let's move on to item 7. So we're going to another discussion point. We're going to discuss committee collaboration with community organizations, roles and responsibilities, establish the Economic Development Advisory Committee goals and priorities for the foreseeable future, including but not limited to tourism, Cienega Wine Trail, and provide staff direction as desired.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. On the table, I had put down a document that was provided by Christina Chavez from the Business Council, just detailing what each organization does in their own organization. The goal for this item today is to kind of establish some foreseeable future goals for the entire committee and how we want to move forward and what we want to pursue for economic development in San Benito County. And with that, I'll pass it back to you.
So let's go ahead and open it up to public comment. We'll take Zoom first, please.
On Zoom, please press *9 or the raise your hand icon. Maria, if you can unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry, my hand wasn't up, but I don't have any public comment.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Looks like no further comment on Zoom.
Okay. Christina?
Thank you, Christina Wyatt. I did provide this information as a FYI to the supervisors and staff. I would explain it's a work product of the EDC and it was completed in April of 2022, I believe, so it's not current. It was just a foundation of sharing information.
Thank you. I think it's a great starting point. And so is there any other public comments here? Renee?
It was updated July 22. So it's pretty current, although I think each of the organizations in this should revisit it and maybe come up with recommendations for how they want to apply their organization in a collaborative effort on this committee.
Thank you. So do we want to go around and update it, or you want to give some?
I'm going to make a comment, and this might set us back a little, because my comment is, if we're going to set these goals, which was our intent of this meeting, was to set some goals, talk about where we want to prioritize economic development. My biggest concern is if we don't have the committee fully formed and we're trying to set these, I think maybe we start the discussion, but don't take anything to a vote until we update the bylaws and where this committee or this group will fall under, so that when we do make this, it's done as a collaborative group that everybody is in agreement on. Do you feel, Barbara, that's appropriate? Okay.
So then maybe what we'll do is, so we won't maybe work on goals today, even though I want to get into those goals, but I think let's address something, the purpose of why we're here and what this committee is, the purpose of it. And so why we're all sitting here. And these are things that I kind of just made quick little notes from the bylaws, but kind of my takeaway, as well as I reviewed all of the past minutes from the last year and trying to, okay, where are we? And so the purpose of this committee is to revitalize San Benito County through efforts of recruiting and retaining new businesses and industries, sustain and grow our economy, and enrich the lives and experiences of businesses, residents, and tourists. Some additional considerations and points of interest is looking at economic development incentives, looking at the current business climate, looking at business attraction and retention, as well as marketing opportunities. And the committee is really here to provide input and expertise on ways to help and encourage investments in San Benito County, creating jobs and increasing our tax base. Previous topics from prior minutes, and I'm not sure if they were addressed, possibly, I couldn't totally tell, was topics around housing, the lack of volume and type. So looking at possibly incentive programs for employer provided housing, energy for current and future needs around electric and gas, the status of a business license program and a collection of quarry impact fees, possibly utilizing for road improvements. And so some of the things that I think that we may not address today, but need to be addressed in kind of the near future, is defining all of our roles and responsibilities of the committee. Looking at any potential available grants that are out there for this type of work and what our priorities are for the coming, kind of the coming year. And so that's really the purpose of this committee and why we're kind of all sitting around this table. And so those are just, I know we do have a couple of I believe we fund the Economic Development Corporation. And I believe there has been some MOUs with the chamber in the past, but there currently is not an MOU with the chamber. Are there any other? Do we provide any money to San Juan Bautista or to the Hollister Downtown Association or the Business Council? Okay, so thank you.
Okay, my goal out of this, and kind of revamping this committee is really looking at setting a goal, a vision for us as a group, and signing each organization on with an MOU or a contract, whichever way legal feels it should go, so that we are all pretty much in a lane. You know, we have a lane for what we're trying to get to, and we're all going to collaborate together and how that collaboration will work. So my goal is to set the vision, and I think that's what we want to talk about today. And this may be the first vision, and then piggyback onto that a second phase vision, a third phase vision, and really start to quantify and bring data of what we've each brought to reach those goals, and show the community that we're working together collaboratively, and that we're not just all out there kind of doing our own thing. We all still can do our own thing, but just that we're working together on this one goal, and we all agree that this is a vision that we need to do. Biggest item out of the things that the chair has mentioned is economic development to bring our tax base up without taxing our citizens. So that's a major thing for me, and making sure that we are bringing money in that will then feed into more productivity and infrastructure for our community. So businesses can grow. Those are my only comments.
So does anybody have any additional things to add there? Do you want to? I know we're saying we're going to put some of this stuff into a future date, identifying, some of the goals, but do you want to talk about some of the visions of maybe some ideas? Obviously, we want to talk about tourism opportunities, particularly the Cienega Wine Trail. But I think we're open to anything else today too. It doesn't have to be tourism per se. I think this is just what is what is possibly our vision, our goals, and our priorities moving into the year. So we can open it up maybe to Zoom. Would you like to say something? Okay. Because being from District 4, I don't want to have my District 4 hat on. I want to have my county-wide hat on. So when we talk about a wine trail, I think we need to expand that a little bit and talk about a San Benito County and cities tourist route. And we can call it whatever we want to call it, but if it starts in San Juan, or even as far as Aromas, comes in through San Juan, goes through the wine trail to Pinnacles, comes up on the other side of the county, and possibly ends up, at our most northern businesses. I'm thinking we kind of come up with a route that we then focus on as a group and a community. And I don't want to keep calling it the Cienega Wine Trail, because that's just one piece. So if you'd like to open it up to Zoom for comment.
On Zoom, please press *9 or raise your hand icon. Mayor Mia?
Yeah. So I'm also interested in our wine country. I'm not sure about combining too many different elements. I think they would come together. If people are there visiting because of the wine industry, they're bound to come around to this or that place. So I'm not sure I followed what you were saying, Angela, specifically, but I do think we need to have some more collaboration among the wineries. And I really love the model that's been done in Paso Robles. They have a Paso Wine Alliance, which is fabulous. And they've grown their industry by leaps and bounds. And I would love to see us do something similar. So I think that is definitely a priority. So anyways, just a comment on that.
Thank you. Aaron Johnson, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I would just make a recommendation for the committee that the EDC has been leading the comprehensive economic development strategy for the region. Many of you participated on that, and that might be a good springboard for your conversation either later this meeting or the next meeting to go through where we have found consensus, and especially on projects that can receive outside grant funding that can kind of leapfrog us forward. So I would recommend that you kind of maybe Renee can do a presentation for us on that at the next meeting. You can see what we're going after, and then we can build from there. Go for the low hanging fruit.
Thank you. Anybody else, please press star 9 and the raise your hand icon. No comments on Zoom.
Anyone public comment around the table? Come on, I know you all have amazing ideas. Come on.
Oh, I think for me, I just want to clarify, is this more of like a brainstorming brain dump session, or do you want to hear fully formed ideas? Okay. So I think for us, because we are a Chamber of Commerce, a lot of our programs are exclusive to members, but we also do tourism programs, which kind of leave it open for everybody. We've always had the sense of responsibility and duty to like serve everybody because our jurisdiction is the entire county. And I think that's really hard to not do a big picture project, even though there are jurisdictions within it that are governed differently. For us, like under tourism, we own like sanbenitocountywinetrail.com, but we haven't developed it yet because it's just something that we know is like a thing we want to do later. We would love, not us to run it, but we would love for there to be a wine alliance or a vintners association like there has been in past. But I would love to see them drive a lot of what the goals are for the wine industry and us be the responding side of it and create events or programs or sales tax revenue or initiatives that benefit them. But I don't think we should be the drivers of that completely. We should be the supporters of that. So I would love for them to have the opportunity to share their needs and their vision and how we can elevate those visions and the opportunity and leverage them to like create events or passport programs. I haven't seen a good wine map in a really long time. They don't have current brands, logos, winery names. So just in general, I think starting at the top, the entire county of even if it's wineries, breweries, tap rooms, sake, ciders, everything that is a beverage that is for grown-ups should be part of this map and then kind of narrow it in from there. But I think if we start at just a wine trail, I think we're alienating a lot of partners who would be a great value add to these types of passport programs. We have great breweries in downtown Hollister and in downtown San Juan Bautista. So I don't think it would be beneficial for us to separate those two things by having only a wine trail. We have created itineraries where it starts at a restaurant in San Juan Bautista, goes to a brewery in San Juan Bautista, a mini wine room in San Juan Bautista, and then goes up to the Cienega Road Wine Trail, but also leads right back down to a restaurant at San Juan Bautista, again, that has no parking fee. And we've done that throughout the county and worked with restaurants, worked with wineries to make it a value add for everybody. So even if you typically wouldn't work together, there's this partnership in even that one itinerary, that one trail. And if we can build out so many where everybody's working together, we can find a way to create economic development opportunities for shuttle services and vehicles to take these people places, event coordinators to create these amazing opportunities. I just think there's such an opportunity where we're leveraging the beauty that we already have and this is supporting and retaining local businesses and we're helping them grow. And as these programs and initiatives get bigger, their staff will grow. They will be able to do more. They will produce more. They will generate and create more sales tax. These people will be local taxpayers. They will live local, shop local. And to me, I think it's more of a whole initiative and a bigger vision. And then from there, we do bigger events, wine and beer festivals or food and wine festivals. But I think even just starting with identifying all of the players and putting them on this really cool map we can all be proud of. Because if I'm a business and I'm on a map, everybody else that's on that map with me, I'm gonna promote. So I think if we all put everybody on the map, they're gonna start to realize how big of a partnership they can really have and how many like-minded people there probably are like them. And I think it might just unify them to work together the same way I think we're trying to do that here in this group. We all have a shared reality that we want to see San Benito County thrive. Sure, we have our lane. Sure, we have our own, whatever it is we create. But I think our shared reality is we want to see San Benito County thrive. And I think if we're focusing on the wine trail, there are a lot of needs. I think roads to get there, I think, are a huge need. And we don't know what's first, the roads or the program or the publication or the promotion or the branding or the road. But we have to figure it out, and we have to very strategically figure out how we fund that. How do we get taxpayers to understand that if we invest in fixing the roads, how do we all benefit? How do we all win? And really just get to this really smart strategic place.
From the last meeting, I kind of threw out there the setting the vision of what this tourism could be, and then set the priorities of the roads and the road, not just repair, but replacement. That's why I keep kind of going back to this one big route. It's not that it would be a route that you do in one day and everybody hits everything. It's what's the main route that we want to start on, and we can branch off later, but that route and how it brings you through both of our cities, into our unincorporated areas, into our wine trail, into our North County, so that everybody's getting something out of these road repairs. And then piggybacking on this, identifying where these businesses are might draw the route. So I almost think identifying the businesses and really getting everybody to kind of get on board with this idea, and then draw the route so that we can then bring it back to the Board of Supervisors and talk about priorities with RMA on road repairs and how we can schedule that so that it happens more efficiently.
I agree with Michelle and both of the supervisors. These are all great ideas, and collaboration is really important, and inclusivity as far as including San Juan Bautista, all the way from the Bedabel project to Strata Verde, to everything that's going on in the county. We want to make sure that everyone's included and has is up at the table with a conversation. I think it's a great idea that we have this meeting in person, because it's really hard to see the players and the stakeholders that say they have a voice and they're not here, or they're on Zoom and we don't get enough collaboration from them. I think the comprehensive economic development strategy, the SIDS, is really important for everyone to look at. We want to look at what can entice site selectors to look at San Benito County, and what are our issues, such as the hospital, schools, roads, everything that we have here. What do we really need to work on? And that's what the strategic plan is for, the SEDS. I will have a draft of the first draft tomorrow of the SEDS. The EDC and our board will be reviewing it first, but I would like this committee to be able to review that as well as our SEDS strategy committee. I think it's really important to see if we're missing anything. We had a lot of stakeholders in the on the SID strategy committee from all parts of the county. And so they had a big part of this, bringing this together. But we want to include everyone. It's going to be open to the public to review once we have a final draft for 30 days. And so everyone will have a chance to have a say in the document. It's a really important 5-year strategy for the county. I also think there are many, many grants out there for tourism and roads and infrastructure The Community Economic Resilience Fund planning phase just opened. There's a lot of money there. There were 180 participants in the webinar kickoff meeting last week. I don't know if anyone here was able to attend it, but there's a lot of people, a lot of organizations in the 6-county program or funding grant program for California that want to get involved and get a piece of the $600 million that we should be able to get money for, especially for programs like that we're talking about. So if anyone's interested, if we could put it on the agenda for the next meeting, Govt is the one of the funders of this big California project, would like to give a presentation on CERF to just go over, because there's a lot of terms in there. It's hard to understand when you have 6 counties and you're all trying to align. And so he would be glad to do that. And I also have a copy of the webinar and the slide deck. If anyone would like to attain it, I'd be glad to send it out. I hope that was helpful.
So we already have a downtown wine and bistro that comes up on May 6th of this year. And so going back to what Michelle's ideas were with having just a bunch of apps with all the different wineries, I mean, that's something that we can incorporate into that event. So including breweries and sake and wineries. So we can have something already built into that. And if we can get together and come up with something that was beneficial, I think our event helps the local businesses too, because we're pairing these groups with local businesses downtown, restaurants, retail shops, and so forth. So we're kind of doing twofold. We're promoting the winery and the brewery, but we're also promoting the downtown businesses that are there and helping them grow and get people to chance to check out who they are. So I think that's something that we can definitely look into and see how we can help the other businesses with that. So.
And Christina Chavez White speaking as an individual community member. I think the greatest focus of we've seen in discussion, the creation of SEDS, is the greatest opportunity is supporting growing existing businesses in San Benito County. Our strongest economic driver in industry is manufacturing. Agriculture is actually number 2. But if you consider value added manufacturing, including wineries and bag salads, et cetera, that's also considered manufacturing, with a focus on high wage career opportunities and career development here in San Benito County. The needs that are being expressed by the businesses here, they need support for recruitment, retaining their employees, for understanding they may not be able to compete with wages out in Santa Cruz and Salinas or in the Silicon Valley, but we can provide an exceptional quality of life and help community members save money by having affordable housing, by having housing that's meeting the needs of our current workforce and for those businesses and the workforces we're seeking to recruit. That is rental housing, higher density. So working with the housing groups within the county, the city, et cetera, and having impact fees and employer provided housing situations that are actually seeing units that are being built, meeting the needs of the community of what they can afford. And really a lot of it too is a lack of understanding, as we've seen even here, is connecting to the network of resources and community members that are so supportive of helping our community members and really helping our employers and our businesses. What Liz and Enrique are doing at the Workforce Board is really exceptional with business services, incumbent worker training, supporting people with putting together their resumes, et cetera. And even with some recent layoffs, helping some training, retraining, and getting placement. Because unfortunately, because our economy is really unstable right now, you have a lot of fear and apprehension, which is resulting in some pretty significant layoffs in our community. But a lot of people don't know about it because they're not triggering warn notices that are large enough to be reported to the Workforce Board. A lot of our community members, our businesses really need a support for technical training and skills, soft skills, Excel, communication, to soldering, to leadership development and supervisory skills. Excuse me. It's really difficult for them to understand and navigate access to capital. Where do you get a loan? Where can you get a grant? Where do you find opportunities for preparing a loan application? The community revolving loan program that the city of Hollister has invested in, it's been sitting with hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. It's really hard to access it. for those businesses that are looking to be making tenant improvements, making expansions, et cetera, as much information as possible on timelines, costs, et cetera, for them to continue to grow here. As was already referenced, the concern of lack of power infrastructure is difficult, and the lack of proper broadband capacity, which I agree with Sean, we shouldn't be looking at putting wires in the ground or wires on poles. We need to be looking at more satellite and different opportunities. They're more progressive in looking at the future. Looking at opportunity sites for relocation of businesses to come here as new businesses, to understand our workforce, to understand limitations and operations to move here. And specifically in regards to the tourism and winery sector, is having closer communications with the private sector and understanding the history of our Wine Growers Association, what they really need and what their economic drivers are. It's not based in selling wine, it's in having events. They need good roads. We need to have places for people to stay because that's our TOT and our lifeblood for sales tax. And supporting event facilities, noise requirements, catering, a quality of life for people who want to come here and spend money to have events or come here and spend the weekend, and providing them with exceptional customer service, access to fresh food and beverages, ideally items that are manufactured and grown here. It's really amazing. As you know, many of all exceptional work that you did at the Farm Bureau with wayfinding signage and knowing what's local and fresh and seasonal. But really just reducing the churn, having more conversations with people with what they really need versus making an assumption, and really relying on the private sector to help themselves would really be a key. Thanks for your time.
Okay, any comments online?
Yes. You've been unmuted.
Hi, this is Liz. Thank you, Christina. You just took the words right out of my mouth and then added a whole bunch of smarter ones. Thank you.
No further comments.
Okay, so I think that great discussion today surrounding this and kind of our roles and kind of our vision and ideas. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to committee reports. I know several spoke already. I don't know if you have additional things to add for a committee report, but are there any committees that want to report out? Any ex-officio? It's the ex-officio members again. So it's the chamber, it's economic development, it's the business council, it is the San Juan Bautista. No, they're not listed on there, but they should be on there. The San Juan Bautista Economic Development Citizens Advisory and the Hollister Downtown Association. Chamber, would you like to say something? No.
My question is, based on the conversation that was had of the creative brainstorm, at what point do we have action items or takeaway items for us as committee members? I don't know if this is the right place to recommend it, but I think something very quickly actionable that can be an awesome success for this group would be if San Juan Bautista could identify all of their wineries, breweries, tap rooms in San Juan, and for Hollister, if the Downtown Association can do anything in kind of the downtown radius, and then we'll, scan from a higher view if there's anything in the county or Aromas or anywhere, and bring it back to the table and just kind of us all assess, are we missing anything? Is there anybody missing from this list? I think even just that is kind of a win for us. It's a simple task we can do. We're staying in our lanes and we're working together, and we can collectively tell every single person on this list, we're working together for your benefit. And it's zero cost to anybody other than a couple minutes of a quick Google search or whatever. I think those are simple, small steps that are going to make a huge impact in groups like this, because this is the first time we're working together. I think it's a value add for everybody they already serve in their jurisdiction and for all of us. So for me, I think that would be something I would love to see us do. And I don't know if we can just like agree to do that, or does that have to be actioned, or is that even outside of it?
I don't know that we need to have a specific vote on it. That has to be an action item. I'm worried about taking action because we don't have action on the agenda. However, I would say if we're agreeable, if everybody's agreeable to that, I think it's a great first step. I would say like really getting to where we're like action items and things. I want to get there just as quickly too, but I think that we do have to agendize some of that. And I think that we have to lay the foundation first. And that was part of kind of that previous conversation about we need to figure out, okay, who are all of the ex officio members and what is everybody's kind of role and what is voting going to look up? How is this committee going to be made up? And so I think we've got to get that. That will be on next month's agenda. So before I get too far, are there any committee? Does anybody want to report out as a ex officio committee member? Oh, is anybody on Zoom? Sorry.
On Zoom, please press star 9 or the raise your hand icon. No comments on Zoom.
Thank you. So I'm going to give it back to Michelle with the chamber.
Thank you. And I apologize in advance. This is the first time that I'm joining this meeting as a staff person after a really long time. So you guys might already have asked these questions and knows these questions. So I apologize. Okay. So I know we had been talking about it earlier, but I was kind of processing. But because of items like this, maybe Mindy, you could answer this one, are wineries part of the Farm Bureau? And is there, because it's agriculture, is there room at the table for the Farm Bureau to be part of a conversation like this? And because there is so much economic opportunity and revenue generation from the agricultural industry, which I think definitely includes farms, is this also a project that they can be incorporated into as well? Just kind of further creating more of a unified group?
So I think the more the merrier. I would love to see Farm Bureau to get involved, but I can't speak for them. But we absolutely can invite them to the table. And I would say that yes, there are some wineries and ag tourism businesses that are Farm Bureau members, but of course, like everything, we're probably not capturing everybody, but I would love to see, I think there's a lot of agritourism options. Obviously employment and things of that sort are very important to that sector as well. And so, I think that that's really part of this discussion today is identifying who should be here that isn't here, right? And so I think that's a great suggestion. And I think we can keep adding to that. And I think everybody has homework, kind of go home from this meeting and start thinking about who should be here and kind of, hopefully this is a value added committee for a lot of different things. Do you have any more questions for me? No. Okay, one more. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go, no other committee members have any, if nobody else does, then I'm going to move on in the agenda and go to future agenda items. And so I guess I would like to ask that, one, we define roles and figure out kind of the makeup of this committee and board for the next meeting. I also would like to get a SUDS presentation and look at options from kind of building on that and setting goals. I also, if we can get a GoBiz presentation on that Community Economic Resilience Fund, I think that would be very valuable. And then lastly, for our next meeting, I would like to do kind of a report back on kind of our homework items of going out and identifying the wineries, breweries, tap rooms, et cetera, in all throughout the county, and kind of start that discussion. So,
and I would like to offer my assistance with the chamber if you're working on kind of the higher level in the unincorporated area, that we could set up some meetings with the wineries and try and bring that group together. I know the county in the past has done this, but I think this is like a fresh new set of eyes and a new kind of approach, and that maybe together we can do that.
And I will say that this is a start. I know it maybe seems very heavy on tourism right now, and I don't want to take away from the importance of, retaining and growing the businesses that are currently here, helping with trainings, looking at relocation sites, having, closer communication, really working with the private sector. But we've got to start somewhere. And so I think that, in future meetings, we can definitely start to address some of those other items, but I don't want to bite off more than we can chew. And we've got 1 hour, an hour and a half max. And so I think with those 4 items, I don't want anybody that is on this call to feel that we don't recognize the importance of all of the other economic kind of opportunities and development that needs to happen. This committee, I think, is really committed to working hard and addressing every issue, but we've got to start somewhere. And so with that, is there any comments that maybe the public has, or anybody around this table?
On Zoom, press *9 to raise your hand icon. No comments on Zoom.
With that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I'll second. So
Aye.
we'll go ahead and adjourn to our next board meeting. Thank you all so much for your input and for being here today.